Who wants to be a bounty hunter and earn $10 million? It's time to go after ransomware gangs.
So Tony, it sounds like the US government really wants to catch some bad guys. So much so they're offering $10 million. Can you tell us about it?
Yes. So the U.S. State Department on November 4th decided to announce to the world that they're putting out two bounties, not just one, but two bounties related to ransomware. So going back earlier this year, looking at the Colonial Pipeline event, I believe this was the last nail in the coffin to really get the U.S. State Department involved in this. So basically, the announcement on November 4th was they're going to offer $10 million to anyone that supplies information related to the leaders of the ransomware organization that caused the Colonial Pipeline. And that organization is called DarkSide. So they're offering $10 million for any information on the location of those leaders. Now, the $5 million, now that comes into play for any information that leads to an arrest on any of the affiliates for DarkSide. So let's break this down. What exactly does it mean, the leaders, the affiliates, and we'll go into actually one affiliate example. So ransomware gangs are typically designed almost like a pyramid. You have the main group at the very top that comes up with the idea of doing this, and they've got the connections. And from there, the next tier down are the people that actually develop the malware. So now you're starting to see this tiered level, and it's getting a little bit bigger because you're going to need more developers than you are the people that are kind of producing this organization. And then from there, you have your affiliates. And what that is these are smaller groups that come to the main DarkSide ransomware gang and say, we would like to actually use your malware to do ransomware attacks across the globe. And then all of a sudden you start seeing where I'm going to pay, you're going to give me the code, and then I'm going to go out and I'm going to produce some ransomware attacks. If I am successful, any of the money that I make from ransomware, I'm going to bump up to you a percentage of it. So now you see where this happens. And then you can even go down to the affiliates, and they may have developers, or they may have people that are really just the workhorses, sending out the emails, doing the DDoS work to try to, scatter the blue teams, whatever it takes to get the ransomware in. And you start seeing layer after layer after layer. And the U.S. State Department, the U.S. Government, we're done. So, DarkSide was the biggest one in recent events, news media and all that. So 10 million for the leaders, 5 million for the affiliates. And the funny thing, or something that I personally found funny, is one of the affiliates of DarkSide, called Black Matter, on November 4th stated, we're going to close the doors, guys. We're done. And I don't know if it's the timing. I wasn't able to track that, but it's kind of a coincidence that one of DarkSide's affiliates are like, yeah, we're done, on the same day that bounties were literally put on their heads, which I think it's wonderful. Yeah. A little bit of information around DarkSide. They are Russian speaking. That doesn't mean that they're in Russia, but they do speak the language. I assume their keyboards are acrylic, things like that. And then Black Matter, actually, their focus with ransomware is the agricultural industry. And I'm sure that there's other affiliates that have different business verticals that they focus on. But, really, it all came down to the Colonial Pipeline attack back in May. the article even said that there was panic buying at the gas stations. Now, I don't know about where you guys were living, but there were lines miles long around where I live for gas. And the funny thing about it around here was within a couple days, we got gas again. So it was that shift where the gas line's down, oh my gosh, and it caused that panic. And I think that's one of the things that really drove the U.S. government to take this stance.
Yeah.
Some other side notes about this, the ransomware within the U.S., they reported about 40 victims. Now, the article says victims. That does not mean I'm a victim or you're a victim. I'm taking the term victim as a company. So I don't know that for sure. They only worded it as victim, but that's my opinion on what I think they meant by that. And that means that there's an impact within not only our country, but globally when it comes down to ransomware. The information in this article, the decision by the government to do this, I think it's very positive. One of the things that the State Department made clear is anyone that gives them information that leads to either the leaders or the location and the affiliates, they will not let anyone know that they paid them. So that keeps that integrity, the anonymity, to make it, only the people that are cutting the checks are going to know where it's going to, and then that's it. So I think that also is going to drive people to start tapping on these keyboards to see what they can do, doxing, threat intelligence, whatever the case is, to really bring these guys to justice.
And also, actually, in the article, the ways they can interact, maybe provide the tips is to one of the social media favorite apps for anyone, say liking, right? Like WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. So they're making it easy to, I think, much easier to report it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting. The article mentions that the hope of this whole thing is that they'll turn on each other, right? That someone will say, "I'm on the run. This sucks. I can't do anything. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm in fear, whatever it may be. Why don't I take this cool $10 million or $5 million and, get out stress-free," is the idea. Now, I'm no criminal, but that sounds like a much better option than continuing to be on the run. So, which sounds like a disaster. But I did want to mention. It's part of the. Here, I just had it up. It's kind of a long name. It's part of the State Department's Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program, which of course offers bounties essentially for any information leading to the arrest of certain individuals. In this case, it's people who are involved in DarkSide. But I would encourage you to go. There are 23 other targets, if you will, that are listed, including DarkSide. Most of them are individuals. And interestingly, was it 2 days ago? Yesterday, actually, the Sodi no Kibi ransomware group was also added as well. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier, Tony, that I think that you think the Colonial Pipeline attack was sort of what broke the camel's back, essentially. And I'm inclined to agree with you, just based on how much money we're offering for information for ransomware groups. That's a lot of coin. And I think they may have flown a little too close to the sun. I think when you start affecting ordinary American lives, is I think where the government kind of draws the line and says, okay, we need to take some drastic action on this. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. The term there's no honor among thieves. It comes to mind as soon as you were describing that. Maybe they'll turn on each other, and that quote holds for it. And then this is millions of dollars. It's impacting millions of people. It's definitely something that's serious. It's always been serious, but this time it really opens a lot of people's eyes. It is nice to report that the U.S. was able to get back $2.3 million of the $5 million ransom that was literally paid. So it was nice that they were at least to get some of that as well. Yeah, we'll see what 2022 looks like when it comes down to ransomware gangs.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to the news to see if this loosens any rocks, so to speak, and see what falls, because that's a lot of coin. $10 million, $5 million for some information, and like you mentioned, it's anonymous. No one knows that you got paid all that information. I mean, I wish I knew something. I would offer it immediately, but I'm in the dark.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am too.
I think, Andy, only question you have is the 10 million or 5 million before tax or after tax.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's really heartening to see from actually this collaboration happening from the government side and the basically various countries also involving in taking this, basically this ransomware. I think that's a good step in the right direction, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: ransomware is very lucrative. Obviously, it's been increasing in recent years, and 2021 has been kind of a banner year for it. So unless we do something, unless something is done to catch these people, to bring them to justice, to show others, it might be lucrative in the short term, but it will catch up with you, and you probably will go to prison for a long time. That detracts people. It works. I mean, that's the way you get citizens to, behave, essentially. It's important to do something. And I agree with you, Ganesh, that it's heartening to see the State Department taking drastic action to get any information they can on this group and potentially bring some or all to justice.